Well, after a crazy event and lots of amazing matches with some unknown talent, let's recap the Esports World Cup Call of Duty Edition. What's going on, guys? Jay Hoyt back with you today. Welcome back to Call of Duty once again, as I'm a little delayed making this, almost a week late, oopsies. But we are here with the recap of the Call of Duty Esports World Cup. And we had, I'll say, the best 16 teams in the world, but, you know, we had some interesting teams here that ended up not performing as well as they could have. But obviously lots of information that we tried to cover in the prediction video. However, you know, of course, some of them just not ending, you know, up being super clear. So we are here with the recap of the event, and we're going to start with the group play. All right, so here it is with, again, lots of information, everything done and dusted. And Group A, Optic Gaming on top. Of course, the Optic Texas squad. A new look Carolina Royal Ravens team who has Beans in place of Clayster. Ends up getting the top two spots, beating the Las Vegas Legion and omit Brooklyn. Group B had the Vancouver Surge and Cloud9. Interesting that Cloud9 ends up losing in here. So who did they lose to? I guess did they just lose in the regular or in the playoffs? I think so, because Cloud9 beat M8 or Mates, and then they, I guess, lose in the winners match, and then they beat the decider. Okay, so that's what it was. So they actually lost to the Vancouver Surge, and then they still end up making on after beating up the Gentlemates. So that's what it was. Then you had the Ultra and the Breach being there, which surprisingly the Stallions weren't there. Heretics fall out as well. And then Group D, exactly as expected. FaZe come out 3-0, 3-0. They move on. 100 Thieves get there in the end as well, which brings us down to our bracket / playoffs being on your screen. So we had Optic versus Cloud9. So of course Optic Texas versus the old New York Subliners squad. Optic win that one 3-1. FaZe beat the Breach 3-0. No surprise about that one. And then surprisingly, Toronto Ultra fall to 100 Thieves, the LA Thieves, in the game 5. And then you had the Vancouver Surge taking out the Carolina Royal Ravens in the game 5, which then led to the semifinals. So also, for some context here, this was single elimination. So there's no elimination bracket to drop down to. It's just you are out of the tournament. So there's no second chances in this one. Optic Gaming, though, goes up against Atlanta FaZe. This one does not go Optic's way. Ended up losing 3-1. FaZe moves on. And then you got 100 Thieves versus the Vancouver Surge. Thieves 3-0 fashion, moving on to the grand finals versus FaZe, where it ends up going to the best of 7, and then FaZe ends up taking home the trophy in this one. But what's really interesting about this, right, is if we take a look back at the teams, right, we have Optic, we have Carolina, we have Vegas, we have Vancouver, we have the New York Subliners squad, we have Ultra, we have Breach, we have Heretics, FaZe, LA Thieves, 100 Thieves. That's 10. We have the Minnesota Rockers team G2. And then who else is there? I think that was it. So I think that's 11 that I counted. So the only team wasn't here was the LA Guerrillas, which was interesting that they just decided not to come, which was kind of surprising. But then, you know, as far as the challengers teams, I mean, they beat kind of the bottom teams, which were good, but also at the same time, this is why we need more teams in the CDL, which will be a whole nother video in itself. But then Team Falcons 0-2, kind of not surprised about them losing out in this group. And then single elimination, right? If you ever, especially, and I mean especially at a what was the prize pool? Was it 1 point something million? Yeah, $1.8 million prize pool. And it's a single elimination tournament? What? Why would you have a single elimination tournament at the Esports World Cup? Right? That's insane. At least have a loser's bracket. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. But speaking of the prize pool and the placements, so we're jumping down to the 13th through 16th teams. So we had Omit Brooklyn, G2 Esports, Team Heretics, and Team Falcon, all getting $20,000. Lore Gaming, Stallions, Gentlemates, and the Las Vegas Legion, all getting 9th through 12th, getting $40,000 for them. Then you have 5th through 8th, all getting $80,000, being Cloud9, Boston Breach, Toronto Ultra, Carolina Royal Ravens. And then, of course, in the top 4, 3rd, 4th being Optic Gaming and Vancouver Surge, getting some EWC club points. I'm not exactly sure what those are, but they got them nonetheless. 3rd through 4th, they get $160,000. And then second place went to 100 Thieves, getting $320,000. I guess I'm getting second place. And of course, in first place, getting $600,000, being Atlanta FaZe. But also, I got a bone to pick with the Esports World Cup. Well, I can't find it right now, but the stage itself for the Esports World Cup, and I know this was the main stage for a lot of it, but the stage itself was cool. The big screens, how it was set up, it all looked amazing with the lights and everything. Cool. But where was the crowd? There was the one couple of shots I was trying to find, and I tried to look back through the Twitch VOD as well, but there was it felt like 200 people there. For the esports, you can't call yourself the Esports World Cup and then not have a crowd. Now, if there was limited event or limited seating, or you're only allowed to have so many people there, but that looked like a big venue. So it's where is the people? Where is all your crowd? Where's all the fans? Because I know was it in Saudi Arabia or something, or it was somewhere overseas. I know there's still fans out there. Did they just do a terrible job marketing? Because it didn't really look like, there was a lot of capacity there. It just looked like it was all right, here's your 200 people or 300 people, whatever it was. It just didn't really look like there was enough space for anybody, right? So that was one thing that bothered me, was the couple of times they showed the crowd, and maybe that's why they didn't, because there was nobody there. And that's really terrible to see, because they have this big, amazing setup for this huge stage and this big, kind of build up for this event. And then it's if you're playing in front of nobody, then what's the point? Right, that's why I always get so frustrated to see when the COD League plays in front of nobody. It's that's who you need to be in front of, is all of those people, right? I don't know how much tickets cost, but if it's $50 for the weekend or $50 a day for whatever it is, that's 50 times, I don't know, 1,000, or if not more people, or if it's a bigger event, 10,000. I don't know what the kind of arenas they play at are, but you're missing out on so much money. People will travel across the world, across the country, come from all over to be at this event, and then to have, not just the normal, COD League, majors, but something as big as a World Cup, to have so little people, that just, it seems like a huge slap in the face of why did we do all this? Where you spent more money on the stage and more money in prize pool, and then didn't get anything really back for it. And maybe there was a lot more people and you just couldn't really see them, or they just didn't show them. But every COD event, you see tons of people. They show the crowd. Everyone went going nuts. Right, the first of its kind for stage for COD Champs, when Optic won, they were in the middle, the whole crowd around them, and almost a 350-degree view, where the only room that wasn't taken up was where all the players walked out, and the whole venue was packed, right? But for a World Cup, where was the fans? But maybe you guys noticed something that I didn't, because I mainly only watched Optic play, and it was early in the morning, so of course a lot of it I missed. But I don't know if you guys noticed that too, but at least it was disappointing for me, right? To see nobody in the crowd. That's so heartbreaking. I would love to go to an event and be there cheering on the green wall and being with the fanatics and the crazy green wall fans, and of course the rest of the Call of Duty community fans, right? I know Optic's obviously by far and away the biggest, but the people that are starting to branch out and slowly starting to follow the other teams and get behind the other teams, yeah, I want to scream "you suck" right to your face, but at the end of it, it's hey man, that was awesome. This was a great event, great battle. Obviously events happen. There's always gonna be a winner and loser, And it's like, that's part of it. But I was so disappointed. But either way, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you did enjoy, hit the like button down below if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, make sure to subscribe. And as always, guys, we'll see you in the next one.